What's up, guys? This is Mr. Jamvet, and we are back. I almost said Pokemon Showdown server. I guess we're not wrong. But today we have our third game versus Meeps. Our second game, I say our because we're all playing. It's our second game was too long. It was like 160 something, 170 something turn. So it was insanely long, and I'm not going to narrate a long battle like that. So if you want to see that, just check the description. I'm going to try to leave that in the description. If I don't, remind me. So it can just be really easy instead of going searching Mencemeat, even though that only takes a couple of seconds. But I want to make it convenient. So anyway, we have our third game today versus Meeps of Central, I want to say. I don't remember. But yeah, so I brought the Omega team, as you can see, from the team builder. And Blunder was like, Jam, no, Jam, no. He wanted me to bring the Zard Y team because he knows I did not build because I was just preoccupied with other things. And generally, I only build 2 times in the World Cup. The first team, which was Zard, and the second team, which I don't want to spoil too much. It had a really cool team, Reuniclus, and a lot of cool Pokemon on there. Very solid team, I think. I want to adjust some sets on that to better deal with. Let me pause the Discord. Okay, so anyway, let's focus on this. So I brought the Omega team. I figured if I built the team, I have to believe in it. So I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think it's very solid. Omega actually has a great matchup versus his team, barring that heat ran. It actually kills pretty much everything on his team. Lele needs quite a bit of damage to kill, but otherwise, I just click Bug Buzz when it comes in and just drop Pokemon like flies. Gren dies in one go, Bulu dies in one go, Lando dies in one go, and I think after Rocks, Manectric dies in one go. So Lele, I think, takes, I need to get it about 60% to knock it out, which is kind of disappointing. It's a life for Bug Buzz. You'd think it'd do better or do more, but Lele actually has good SWDF. Tangent aside, going into this game, I was thinking, well, I need to find out what his Z move user is. That's going to be the decider of this game. I was really hoping he was not Scarf Lele, because Scarf Lele is a big problem to this team because Mimikyu cannot outspeed, Doug can't trap it, and I only have 1 Psychic resist, so it's an offensive Steel type. If you recall, this is a Scarf Magnezone. So sorry, somebody messaged me on PS because it pops up at the bottom of my screen, but you didn't ask that. So yeah, that was what I was thinking about going into this game. I thought this was very winnable. Trap Tren, let Yan go ham. In between Venusaur walls, probably 5 out of 6 if it's not a Z-Fly Lando. Lele, I have Earthquake, and Lele is the biggest threat. And as far as to my Venusaur, and if it's Scarf, then between Mantine and Venusaur, I should be able to handle that. So that's what I was going for, but I need to find out what his Z move user is, and you're gonna see why that's important. So, ooh, I think the music's on. Never mind. So he leads Landorus here, and generally, you know, on ladder with this team, because I recorded it live with it, I'd lead Omega versus Landos. But in my head, I'm thinking somebody probably showed him the team or something, so I didn't want him to predict. Plus, the fact that he led Lando, I was thinking there's no way he can be bulky Lando, because it's obvious that I won't. It's obvious that I don't know. That's given. He couldn't possibly know that. So essentially, I led Venusaur knowing he wouldn't lead Lele, and if he led Tren and that was his rocker, I could clap it with Earthquake turn 1, because he'd probably expect me to not pack Earthquake because I have a Dougie, but that's not the case. So I'm in a really bad spot, and it turns out he's Rocks, which, again, if I led Omega, it would have made a huge difference. So I'm going to go Lillipup. Where did Lillipup come from? I'm going to go to Mimikyu here. And the reason I'm play roughing here, or I went Mimikyu, is because Mimikyu outsped, and it could take any Z move. So if he wanted to go for Z-Fly, I wouldn't be in a horrible position, because Mimikyu isn't the most important thing on this team. It'd be nice to have, but it's not detrimental. So I really needed to find out what kind of Lando he was pronto so I can act accordingly. I do end up missing the play rough, which is huge, because I don't get any damage, and 2, now I have no idea what kind of Landorus he is. He U-turns, so I'm pretty sure he's defensive, but I don't know for sure. So he's going to go in the Intimidate loop, and again, I know he's going to go back to Lando, but I play rough again to see what kind he is, and I see the Rocky help me here. So this is where shit hits the fan. So, well, not really. But what I mean by that is I'm like, damn it, if he was Rocky this whole time, not even Yamega would have been great as a lead. But if I knew he was Rocky, he would have never been able to get up rocks. I was just fearing some Z move, and he would have never been able to get up rocks because this variant can't get up rocks versus Mantine because U-turn doesn't do damage, HPS, and obviously Earthquake. So rocks being off the field all the time would have been huge. So I'm going to get the damage out. I'm going to U-turn, SD here just to neutralize my attack. That way, whatever he sends in won't just be taking minimal damage. Because if I was at -2 at that point, he could have went to whatever he wanted, kind of just like lackadaisically. And he could not Quake me there because then he defog. And if he gave me the opportunity, that's what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to Earthquake because if I get off the defog, I have a pretty good shot. I'm back in this. So I lost all momentum the first 5 turns, and right here he psychics my Mantine right away. Now I thought that was the worst of the two. He could have went hard in Manectric, which I thought he'd do. That's why I defogged immediately instead of roosting. The thing is, if I roosted and then defogged, because then basically I'd have roosted to the point where he can't 2KO me because I'd be at around 85% after leftovers. Or not 85, yeah, 85 after 85 after leftovers, or 86, somewhere around there. And then I'd be able to tank 2 psychics and defog and be at around 80, I think 93 at the end of it, or like 90, roughly like 91, 93. So I'd be at a really high amount of health. But if he harded to Manectric on my defog, on my roost, I'd obviously have to switch out and need just Volt switch out. So Manectric in both situations gained him like the momentum. Where especially because the rocks would still be up, so even if I went to Doug Trio, he'd still, unless he thought I was Scarf, I don't know. But right here, I wish I had roosted because I'd be at damn near full, and I'd be able to defog because he'd switch the Lele out next turn because there's no point in keeping it in. But here I have to take an extra psychic, which is going to be huge. So gonna Volt switch here, and I still have a pretty good shot to win this game. As I'm going to go to Doug Trio, and it's Migos time. As we're going to trap this Heatran, blow that out of the water, and then between Mantine, I'm just going to sack whatever to get Mantine back at full. And between Mantine and Venusaur, I can wall his team until I can get to the range where, until I get to the point where because Venusaur walls Bulu, it walls the Manectric, it walls the land. I'm not going to use Vena to wall Lando because I have Mantine to wall Lando, and Mantine walls the Grin. So again, between those two, everything is clap. Tran is like likely the Magma Storm taunt shiz. So once I get rid of this, Mega just comes in and show me your bug buzz switching. You know what I'm saying? And I can just double out on a Lando if I feel like it's coming in and just clap that. And he literally has to sack him on every time to Mega. So I'm like, hell yeah. And then he switches. So this is where, actually in the chat I typed LMFAO because I couldn't believe it. I was like, there is no way you ran Shed Shell. But he ran Shed Shell because, I'm pretty sure it's because I used Dougie in the first game. And then Dougie was a pretty big deal. So in case I wanted to bring the Zard Y team again, he wouldn't get just ran over by Zard. Because if that's the case, he loses his Zard turn 1. Once I trapped that Tran, the Zard Y just clicks frame. You saw Blunder's game. You know how this works. So when he switched out, I was like, oh no. Oh no. And right here, I have to get the Roost off. Because this is going to be my Lele answer. And he goes to the Lele. So now I'm in the Vortex as the U-turn and the Lele combination. I'm going to sack Migos here. Maybe I should have sacked Magnezone instead because that would prevent the Volt switch. And he'd have to think twice with his Manectric because, Manectric does not KO. Well, it has a pretty low chance to KO Doug Trio from full. And at that point, he didn't know if I was Sash or not. So Heatran being alive is huge because now Mega can't just play around. And I'm going to Magnezone and double. At this point, I have to hope he screws up and goes to Landorus on my Magnezone trying to stop Volt Switch. I knew Manectric was the better play, but my Venusaur being alive isn't what's important right now. What's important is to get my Mantine back to full so I can switch into Lele. So he goes to that, and this is where he can Volt Switch whenever he wants, and that's where maybe keeping Dougie over Zone would have been better. and then once he killed my zone, I could have roosted with Mantine. I'd have Dougie, Mantine, Venusaur, and Yanmega, which actually could win the game. So right now, I'm going to double out to Venusaur because at this point, I'm thinking I have to make him choke. He has to go to Lele on my Venusaur. That would be a horrendous play when he has 6 Pokemon and you know Lele wins the game. So he goes to Greninja instead and clicks Ice Beam. Gets the crit. That's not really that relevant. Venusaur is going to be roughly at about 80 something, 84, 80, 81 after this. So I'm going to go Mantine here. I have to like pray that Mantine can take 2 Ice Beams because I need to roost. That's my only way. And now at this point the game's over because I cannot stop the Volt Switch plus Lele combination. So that's going to be wrapping it up. Now what in going into this game could have been done differently? Now I felt like I could have easily won this game. Like there was no definitive turn where the Shed Shell really like threw me in a whirl. Like I couldn't there's no way I could have predicted that. But even if the Shed Shell was okay, like what was necessary to win this game, because as you're gonna see Lele just blows away my last couple. What was necessary to win this game was me knowing he's not Z-Landorus, right? If I knew that, he'd never get up rocks because Mantine always walls Lando and Vena walls everything else. So the situation would be the only thing that can come in on my Mantine is Manectric, and then Manectric would have to be worrying about Dougie because the moment I go to Dougie on a Volt Switch, it's over. The Manectric dies, and then Mantine kind of walls the whole squad. So the beginning of the game where he got up rocks and got up the momentum right there, the only reason I didn't lead Yanmega, but in hindsight maybe that was the play, but again it walls his team, so I mean he beats his team, so I was thinking there's no way he'd lead Landorus if he's rocks Lando, because you don't want to die to HPIs, because I assumed he knew my team, so I'm like there's no way he'd lead a defensive Landorus. So when I led Venus, I'm like, okay, I need to scout out the Z move. And in me scouting out the Z move, I'm trying to gather information because that's generally how I play. Because I don't know this guy's. I know this guy from his first game versus the Flame Victini. I could tell like he's probably not like he doesn't play like the most Sun Moon OU. Not saying he's bad or anything, because obviously he played well enough to, you know, kudos to him. Like he didn't misplay to where it'll cost him the game in this game. But generally, from my experience with him, he was like, I used to play him all the time on the ladder back in the day on PO. Like, he'd be a lower tier player. So I know generally he doesn't play too much OU. So I'm like, okay, if I can nab his Lando early, he'd have no rocks and I'd have a full healthy Omega. And Heatran would be his only counter with Mantine and Dougie alive. So I'm like, I need to find out the Z move. Then it turns out it's not Z Lando, which is like the worst case scenario. And then it's Z U-turn. I mean, it's non-Z with U-turn, which is worse. So I'm like, damn it. Right? And I think there should be some kind of like crystal or something when a Pokemon has the Z move, so that you know which, not like the Z move itself, not like it should have a rock crystal or something, but just something to show that that's the Z. Because like I feel like that adds a component where you can. I used to say this like way when Sun Moon just came out. That's why I didn't play a lot of Sun Moon. I'm like, yo, these Z move things, you cannot. They have no drawbacks. They're ridiculously powerful moves, and then you have to play a guessing game against the person's whole team about what has the Z move, and I don't think that's skill based. Listen, this is not me taking away from Meeps smash me. That has nothing to do with Meeps. But I'm like, damn it! Like I wish there was some kind of like way to say, okay, this is Z. All right, I can play accordingly. I don't know what Z it is, but I know it is Z. And that's no, like, there's, because Megas, you know what the Mega is going to be most of the time. Whereas with Z moves, like, Lando could have had Z. If I led, because my other alternative was leading Yan Mega and just like Hail Mary. And I was like, well, I'm going to hope he's not Z move. Z move kills me. And then I'm in a really bad spot after that. I guess I could have won defensively. That's something I didn't consider. I could have won defensively. So even if he were to Z knock out my Lantern Eternal, I mean Yamega, actually only if it's Continental Crush, which I don't ever see run Jolly. Con Crush would have been a great lead. Venusaur would be a great lead versus Con Crush, but not versus Z Fly. But if I sack Venusaur trying to predict Z, say oh he's not Z, then Tababulu and everything else on his team becomes a problem. And then I sack something else, then he's Z Lele. You know, and that's not really like, there's no way, no matter how good you get at this game, there's no way to predict that. But I don't know. It's not like Nintendo is listening to me. I'm just ranting at this point. We're just gonna have to adapt to these Z move things and adapt better to people kind of counter styling. The Shed Shell Dougie like with some technology that, oh my, when I saw that I just busted out laughing. I was like, there is no way he put Shed Shell on the trend. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Yeah, we did lose this one. It had to happen. And yeah, check out the second game. And the first game, oh, sorry, I hit my computer there. The first game was already uploaded. So, you know, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Bye.